Good morning, Franklin. It's Monday morning. I'm Eric Stuckey, your city administrator, and that means it's time for the top 3 things you need to know this week. We've actually got 3 plus a bonus. So here we go. The first one brings me to my location. I am here at City Hall in what we call the training room, which is on the south end of City Hall, or the end that's near Church Street. And this evening we will be holding the first of 2 scheduled public meetings about updates to our flood regulations. And so that'll be tonight in the training room starting at 5 p.m. And this is an issue that came up when we were doing our zoning ordinance about how we did flood regulations and where there might be some flexibility or questions around those. We've always followed very closely guidance provided by federal government and state emergency management on how to do that, but we do want to have some discussion and facilitate some more input from the public. And tonight we'll be talking about some of those standards around what they call the freeboard limit, which is the amount of elevation you need to have out of the floodplain for structures, and then also the flood minimums or the damage minimums that trigger certain other requirements in terms of your compliance with codes. So certain other codes. So there are a number of other items, the floodway, what uses could be allowed there, such as can you do parking facilities like a parking lot. All of those are going to be part of that discussion to learn more about what's in place now and what options might be available. And then a little over 2 weeks after that, on Tuesday, March 17th, we will be meeting again to follow up on more flood discussion and with a particular emphasis on the community rating system, which the City of Franklin has been participating in for several years, and it helps us use best practices in flood management and protecting people and property, but also results in discounts for flood insurance for our citizens because we're part of that program. And so we want to make sure things we do on one end don't harm us on the community rating system, et cetera, and make sure we're doing the best things to keep the community safe. So that's item 1. Come on down and participate in that if you're interested in one of those 2 meetings. Item 2 is just to give you a heads up. You should start seeing notifications about the federal census every 10 years, required by the Constitution that we have a census of citizens across the United States. That's taking place. April 1 is kind of the targeted date for getting those counts, those responses in, at least the initial responses in. And that's not only the law, but it's really important, especially to local government, because our population levels really affect funding that we get from federal government and state government to help us do basic operations like police and fire. It contributes to dollars we get for building roads and infrastructure that helps you and especially helps a growing community like Franklin. So please respond. Tell us who you are. You're just helping us make sure we have an accurate count and can get our fair share of tax dollars coming back to our community from whether it be federal or state dollars. So that's item number 2. That's important. Keep an eye out for that. Item number 3 is there is an election on Tuesday. It is a presidential preference primary for both Republicans and Democrats. And always encourage you to get involved and vote whenever there is an election. There's no local issues this time around. But what is different is there's some changes in the voting locations, both the specific locations, but also you have the ability to go to any of those locations. You're not limited to just a location in your voting district. So I encourage you to go to the county website and the Board of Elections, and you can go or Elections Commission is actually the right word, and get that information about what all is open. I have a handy list here that they provided that has all of these locations, and if you're a registered voter, you can go to any one of these locations. Voting is from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. if you didn't do the early voting. So that's item number 3. And now your bonus item. This is some awareness that we're trying to make sure we focus in on. This was posted on our social media late last week, put out by the Williamson County Health Department and Emergency Management. That we want to make sure we're all being smart, and we shared some of this with our city employee team members about spreading virus. There's a lot of attention around the coronavirus, but it's also applicable for just the good old-fashioned flu, which can really be a health risk for folks. So things like make sure you got your flu vaccination if you haven't already, wash your hands frequently. If you're sick, folks, stay home. Lots of good common sense guides to just staying healthy and avoiding communicable diseases. Obviously, we'll continue to follow closely the impact of any virus spread, especially the coronavirus, which has gotten a lot of attention, and we want to make sure we're able to serve our community well and keep people healthy, and just keeping aware of these types of common sense guidelines can help us all stay well. So those are your top 3 plus a bonus item. Stay healthy, Franklin, and have a great week, and we'll see you soon.